keyboard that's messed up.
Coming to you every week from no place in particular. This is the Forever Road podcast, featuring Bosco. He's a music lover, a historian, and a connoisseur of the obscure. Find us on some great platforms like iHeart, Spotify, and even more as we keep growing. Now, pointed down the Forever Road, here's Bosco.
I am here, even though you can't see me. Welcome to the best, worst thing you've never seen, Forever Road podcast. I am Bosco. Join me again, as usual, with Brother Turtle, the God Turtle, or just Turtle, and Bubba Doo, featuring a good buddy of mine that I've only known online. Buddy of mine from the north. Is it frozen north? Anyway.
It's not frozen.
Not yet, anyways. Hold on.
Not yet. No.
Give him another 4 months.
Craig Martin. I've known him for a couple years. Through
Years, yeah.
Through Facebook. Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties, everybody. That maybe. I don't know what's going on with my camera.
There you
Leave it
go.
alone. All right. Now, don't touch nothing. Nobody breathe. I know everybody last week, I know we went real long on that episode.
3 hours.
With Jay Durrell, but it was fun. There I go again. Oh well, y'all just bear with me. I'm still gonna be here. I can see everybody, so I know it's gonna be weird. Never mind, man. Gosh. Okay. So, how's everybody's last week been?
A pain in the ass.
Pretty lax. I haven't done anything. It's been raining.
That's true. That's true. What about you, Craig?
Oh, just tinkering away. You know me. Never stop. Weather's been nice.
Yeah. Well, it's just been hot down here. I don't know if y'all really get any humidity up that way, but
Oh yeah.
down here it's humidity is like it's unreal. Some days it's okay when the breeze is coming through, then you can deal with the humidity, but sometimes it's like I don't even want to go outside.
There's still an outside. That's still a thing.
There we go again. My camera. I think that's what I'm gonna do Friday. I'm gonna run to the. I'm not gonna say their name because they don't pay me to say it, but I'm gonna run to the box store and go get a camera and one of those USB adapters that you can hook a couple USBs up to. Right? What do they call that?
A hub.
Port hub. That's it. So. We are your weekly break away from all the presidential blah, blah, blah that they don't have in Canada. And I don't know, maybe y'all do. And the craziness outside in the world, our automotive and music podcast, tell our stories and share our experiences and stuff like that. If I can get this camera to work right. There we go. And yeah, one of my Manatee girls says they're surviving without AC down in Florida.
That's rough.
Dealing with Florida without AC. I don't know now.
All right. Give me just a second. I need to find my charger. My Chromebook's on 1%.
Uh-oh. Wow, we'll
All right,
see you
man,
about
hurry
30
up.
minutes.
The
Sorry.
Chromebook is on 1%, not my phone. Just to clarify.
Hey, Craig. So, how did you grow up, man? What you tell me about Canadian childhood? I guess.
I don't think it differs too much from you guys, other than the weather, really. Just grew up out in the boons. We live out in the country, and you had to make your own entertainment because we didn't have cable or anything like that. So spent a lot of time outside riding bikes, building stuff, forts, whatever, typical kid stuff.
Whew. Yeah. So, what led you into getting into, like, what was your first, earliest memories
Of automotive? You
All right,
might. Hey? Anyway, I can barely hear you, so if I might have to like get you to repeat yourself the odd time. I started off working in the garage with my dad. Like he was a gearhead from way back, and just grew up waiting for him to get home from work so I could get it in the garage and help him. Right. So he's got pictures of me when I was 3 years old out in the garage working on when we were building his pull tractors, mini rod pull tractor. So, but as far as being a Mopar guy, I always liked the Mopars because Dad liked the Mopars, right? Like he is a Mopar guy, and as long as I can remember, well, before I was born, he's had the same '68 Dart convertible, and I grew up working on that car and fixing that car, riding in it. And he's still got it to this day. Like, so it's that kind of solidified my love for A-body Mopars, but Mopars in general, yeah. And then another early memory goes back to I think I was about 5 years old, and Dad bought a '58 Dodge Cornet out of Emporium, Pennsylvania. If not that anybody knows where that is, I don't even know where that is now. And we, at 5 years old, me and my dad's buddy Lee, we went for a road trip, went and picked this car up in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the night. And I learned a lot of what I know from my dad, fixing that car up. Like we did everything. We did the motor, tranny, the body, the paint, everything. You name it, we did it. There wasn't one part of it we subbed out at all. So, later on, I'll see if I can find a picture of it to send you, and then you'll understand what I'm going at. But like it was.
I was over here on the Chromebook, as a matter of fact, pulling up a picture of it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But it was, like I said, it was the '90s, right? So it was Pro Street. That was the rave back then. So it was. We narrowed the frame and put ladder bars in it, and a Dana 60 and Monster Hoosier tires, and it's got a roll cage and a blower, but it looked stock, like it's got all the stone stock trim and stuff like that on it. So it's kind of a sleeper, but not really,
Yeah, you pull up and the sound of it lets you know.
Yeah.
So what was your first? Actually, this question kind of goes back to Turtle too, because I don't know, and I know what Bubba's first vehicle was, and he probably knows mine. Y'all know mine too, but what was yours, Turtle? Your first vehicle?
My first vehicle or my first build?
Hell, either.
Okay, because you already know what my first vehicle is. It's that stupid '92 Ford Tempo.
Oh yeah,
like 2.5 episodes ago.
Yeah.
That junk. Oh my God. Yep, drove it from Paris Island, South Carolina to Warner Robins, Georgia, and didn't even know it was mine.
Didn't know it was yours?
Yep. It was already registered in my name, already had insurance in my name. My parents set me up with a car that my grandparents bought me.
Ford Tempo.
Yes. And the actual Ford color for that thing, I don't know if I told you this. It even said it on the original title, which I used to have. I wish I still knew where it was. But the actual Ford color in 1992 was written as cocaine white.
Nice.
You will not find it in their record books anywhere. But
That's like
on the car itself, the paint code comes up as something that Ford doesn't have. And it's not in their memory banks, if you will. But it comes up as cocaine white. And the reason why they called it that is because it was a pearled white, but it was supposed to have a gold tint to it. And instead of a gold, it just had this nasty yellow haze like cocaine would. So they called it cocaine white. They were never actually supposed to produce it. And so that 92 Ford Tempo was actually kind of a rare car. I didn't find that out until, years after the fire.
The fire.
Yeah.
Do we want to ask?
I mean, you can. It's caused by tannerite.
God. So I'll ask y'all. What do you think? And I'll ask y'all three of this because and I meant to lead off with this. Did you find that definition, Turtle?
No, I never even looked. No, I didn't even look.
Okay.
That would have been funny.
For those of you that don't know, Craig is actually a mechanic. Everything I've
real
seen,
one?
a real one, like legit. He's
All right,
like,
I'll be quiet then.
he's like, Pinocchio when they granted him the wish to become a real boy. But he's been a hell of a guy to me. I bounce a lot of Mopar. He's a hell of a Mopar man. I bounce a lot of Mopar ideas and questions off of him because he's a little bit more, as far as at least Hemi swaps go, advanced than I am. I've never done it.
The world.
That's right. But mechanic is a skilled tradesperson who uses tools to build, maintain, or repair machinery, especially cars. So that's what we are. Figured
that's sure is a way to church it up.
Yeah, well,
They
according
sound
to Wikipedia,
pretty and shit.
Yeah. I just go by dumb mechanic. That's what I go by.
Yeah. What did he say? There was an old man that used to be a mechanic in this area that told me something funny one time. It was something like, I'm not a mechanic. I'm just in charge of the monkeys.
Yeah.
Or something like that. But he knew, you could ask him anything about any vehicle that had been created before 1986, and he could tell you anything and everything you wanted to know about it. Who made the factory tires? He could tell you.
So I'll pose this question to the three of you. I know what I'm gonna say. I'll give my answer last So to start with Craig, what's your favorite of all time? Your color, because we were talking about paint colors a second ago. What's your favorite of all time color on a vehicle?
Ooh.
Blue, but I can't say a specific blue because there's different pitches and hues that match certain vehicles, right? So, but everything, I don't know, blue sounds weird.
The color can change the way the lines look. Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
I have that problem in video games trying to pick the right color.
But see, that the blue depends on, well, like you said, the blue, it could look good, like a B5 blue looks good on a Challenger, Charger, or something like that. But you can't take that same B5 blue and spray a Ram with it. It don't look right.
Mm-mm.
And it depends on what year of B5 blue, because it kept changing through the years.
Yeah, that's true. And the F8 green's the same way. It looks sharp on a Charger, but and I've seen it on a truck, but not. You can't really picture it like I don't know. It doesn't look right on other cars. Sorry. What about you, Turtle?
I have no idea. That cocaine white on a 924 tempo. That's the funniest thing I've ever seen. I mean, there are some beautiful colors out there, and I couldn't tell you what the paint codes were or what colors they were actually called. I mean, there's just so many. Just like Craig said, there's so many different colors that would look better on certain cars than other cars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you you can't put pink on every Cadillac. It doesn't look good. You could put pink on an older late 50s, early 60s Cadillac and do it all day long, and it's going to look good. Do I like pink? No, but it looks good on that car. So I can't really pick just one. If I had to pick a color to paint my current vehicle, a 2014 Jeep Wrangler JKU,
Mm-hmm.
if you were talking about something like that new uh Dodge green that is on the Super B, it's a flaked green, but it looks like it's got like a gold or a bronze metallic flake.
It's really dark, right?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
not real dark, but it's
Yeah.
got it. They do it in a satin, and it looks amazing.
I think that's the F8 green I was talking about.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
got
know.
it pulled up.
That
Hang
thing
on a
is-
second.
That thing is sweet, but it's a factory color where it's actually got a good silver flake in it. Yeah, see, it's
There you
that
go.
color, but is that the one with the flake in it? Because there's a different one.
From what I can tell, I think that's the.
Yeah, it might be a variant of the F8 green. You know what I mean? Like it might be a special for just the Super Bs or whatever. I don't know.
And ended up on Car Gurus.
There you go. Who are those guys? Do they actually know anything? Yeah, see, there's the
It's a wide body.
yeah, that's definitely the green. So if that's F8
That's
and
the
the F8 doesn't have that flake in it, then it's a variant of the F8 with the flake. But either way, yeah, that green, that's actually what I want to paint the Jeep. And then when I was telling you, when I do the hard top, I'm gonna wrap it to look like a turtle shell. It's gonna be
Of
amazing.
course.
It's gonna be so amazing.
You could just do your pinstripes yourself. Just do the little different shape.
Or I could have it
Octagons.
wrapped.
Or you can do it wrapped, whatever. I mean, is your Jeep?
It's actually cheaper to have it wrapped.
And it's not permanent.
And if something happens to the see, with painting the Jeep that color, that would make sense. They actually had Jeeps in that color.
Right.
But to paint the top to look like a shell, I would have to de-skin all of it, which they're going to have to do anyways when they wrap it. And then I would have to prime it or, resurface it, prime it, paint it the base color, and then go through and airbrush all that other stuff in. That's hours and hours and hours of time. I can go down to Creative Coatings or whoever the skin people are here in town and say, hey, I want to wrap the whole top of this Jeep to look like a turtle shell. Let's come up with a design. Let's get together. 30 minutes of my time sitting there going, yeah, that looks good. Cool. And then 2 weeks later, they wrap it and it takes an hour. Now they
Right.
have that file saved. They can print it at any time for any Jeep.
I actually thought about that, doing that to the General is getting it wrapped in that same color.
Yep. And it's a protective film for anything that's underneath it. So I've actually thought about getting the Jeep wrapped in that color, but I figured it'll just be easier just to paint the Jeep the color and then wrap the roof, because the roof, I can peel that off and then just get it plasti dipped, which is basically what was on it to begin with. It's actually peeling off.
I think they last about 8 to 10 years or something. Am I
Yeah.
right?
It's about 10, 15 years, depending on how well you take care of the top. But my brother, the guy that I bought it from, my brother actually used it for hunting. So he's driven through some low hanging trees and had deer thrown up on top of it. And just country boy stuff. So it's
You ever
all
had
throughout.
anything wrapped, Craig?
No,
No.
no. A buddy of mine is a good friend. Used to have a graphics company, and I helped him do a few on race cars. But I never had anything that I wanted to get wrapped. So
Mm. What about you, Connor? What's your Bubba? Sorry, getting used to that again. What's your favorite color?
I got a couple, just like everybody. I think I can't say a specific red. I know I like the red on my Durango. I like the B5 blue. I like a green color, kind of like Turtle's talking about, actually. Other than that, it just depends on what you get and what you add to your vehicle.
Yours is like a chili. I think they'll call it chili pepper red pearl.
Yes, that is exactly right. And they had 2 reds that generation Durango. It was like a cinnamon red and then the chili pepper. So
That's what I was thinking you were talking about was the cinnamon.
now mine's a little lighter, I think. Yeah, but my stepdad had the cinnamon red. He had a Durango same year as mine. So
As a grown man, I don't think I can drive anything with the word cinnamon in its color or name.
just call it Fireball.
Yeah, it's just Fireball red, man. What's up?
There you go.
So, Chris, what was your first? Okay, so what was this saying? What was your? I guess what was your favorite project of all? Like
Of all, like of my own or of one I've done for somebody else?
one of your own. Either way, what was your favorite one? And was hell both questions? Shit, we got time.
Well, I don't know. That's hard to pinpoint. I've had a lot of them. Probably my mini rod pull tractor that I built. I started it when I was 18 and built the engine, built the chassis, built the whole thing from scratch, used it. And then life got in the way and it got pulled apart and the motor got put in something else. And then years later, I tore it all back apart and restored it and brought it up to modern safety standards and put a cage on it and the pinion, the cable's got to go around the pinion, stuff like that. And I started using it again and really had a lot of fun with it.
You said mini tractor?
Yeah, it's a mini rod pull tractor. Like it's, I don't know how to describe it. It's fully custom. It's V8 powered, like upside down headers, like you see them at the fairs and stuff, right?
Okay.
There's nothing tractor about it. Like, let's just be honest.
It's a tractor body with a
there was no tractor to it. It was 2 pieces of aluminum chassis with a small block Dodge in it.
Full custom.
So, but that was probably my favorite project because I did it twice, just like everything I have basically. But I've done monster trucks and muscle cars and off-road vehicles and you name it. I've had some pretty wild ones and stupid ones and ones that never got finished and ones that are still not finished. Like my 68 Dart, that's the one I've had it for 23 years and I've never driven it. So it's been a lifelong project, mainly because all these other projects keep getting in the way. And then doing customer stuff too. Like at work, that's basically what I do, right, is build hot rods.
Yeah.
So we probably one of my favorite ones that worked out the best. Actually, I just finished it last year. It was a 93 S10. It was a 2-wheel drive short box. The guy bought it brand new and it never seen winter. And it only had 50,000 kilometers on it when I tore it all apart.
Wow.
And we put a 500 horse 383 stroker small block in it with a 4L ADE and different gears and a posi and like a Holly Sniper setup. And I integrated all the factory wiring in, so all the factory gauges worked with the Sniper, and it turned out pretty neat. It was a pretty tight little package when it was done. That was a lot of fun to build that one.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, it was a spicy little truck. Like I said to the guy, and the guy that owns it, like he'd never driven anything like that before, right? So I said to him when he picked it up, I was like, be very careful with this because it'll get away from you quick. So
nice.
But
I've done a couple V8 S10 swaps, and then I had a SM Blazer. It was 4.3, and planned on the whole V8 swap, but I never got around to it. But it was still peppy for a 4.3 with a 5-speed.
Oh yeah. Well, this one, the guy's initial plan was because he bought the truck new and he'd planned this since day one, so he's been saving for years. And his plan was to hot rod the 4.3. Like he wanted, higher compression and better heads and 4-barrel intake and all this stuff. And he'd bought an intake and he had an MSD distributor and he had headers and all this stuff. But then all the other stuff he wanted, like you couldn't buy any of it. The heads he wanted, you couldn't buy. You couldn't buy the pistons he wanted. There was just 20 years ago, the 4.3 had a more of an aftermarket following, and it just dried up. So all his wish list just disappeared. So it was going to come down to we could either buy, because there's a local engine builder that we buy a lot of engines off of. He had this. Well, I think it was actually, I said it was 500, but I think it was actually 550 at the flywheel off of his dyno, and it was
ain't nothing to sneeze at.
Well, no, and so it was cheaper to just
while driving it.
Yeah, it was cheaper just to buy that motor and put it in than try to build the 4.3. But then that totally changed the attitude of the whole build, because then it needed a bigger fuel pump, it needed a bigger rad, it needed a bigger fan system, bigger exhaust, et cetera. Just all this stuff snowballs, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was a pretty neat project to see it through, right, start to finish. And then I'm into another one very similar right now. It's actually for the guy who built the engine in the S10, and it's an 87 Grand National, and like factory turbo 3.8, right? And it had an issue. The motor was tired. It was burning oil, and it worked fine. It just motor was tired. So he's got us to pull the motor out, and he was going to freshen the motor up, and then we were going to update the electronics, because I think there's only one company that offers an aftermarket ECM or computer control system for the 3.8s, because Holly doesn't have anything on it yet, or at least they didn't then. Excuse me. So I figured this 3.8's coming back the next year in this crate. We uncrated it, and it was a turbo LS. So now that job has snowballed into a major job. So,
LS swapped the world. That isn't Mopar.
I don't know, man. There have been people out there. Matter of fact, there's a guy I follow. Y'all probably follow him too, the Black Car Guru, and he dropped a big video on the Grand National not too long ago. He's a little rough on the language, but he is hilarious and he knows his stuff. But I can remember. You know what a Grand National is, don't you, Bubba?
Yeah.
Okay. I can remember the first time I ever saw. I knew this family that my grandparents were friends with, and they had a Grand National sitting in their driveway. I can remember being like 9 or 10 years old, walking around that car, and I was like, God, Lord, this is beautiful. This is gorgeous. So I've always been that way, but you see a Grand National, and you, even if you don't even know the difference between a Regal and a Grand National, and I think just seeing that Grand National is like, that is a rarity, especially nowadays.
Yeah,
you
that's
see a Grand National going the opposite way on the interstate. You're like, "Who's Grand National?" So, what was you about to say, Bubba? Sorry.
I was gonna say that's one car my stepdad also talks about a lot. Like any chance he gets, like, damn, them Grand Nationals was quick, like quicker than people realize, and also a record holder for a long time. So, and I think his ex-boss, who I actually met, had a Grand National at one point.
Yeah.
So
what else? What you got going behind you, man? There's I see a piece of an orange something there.
This here, I'll pick you up so you can.
Oh yeah.
It's a 72 Demon.
I was going to ask if it was a Dart, but yeah.
No.
What
That's the one I was telling you about that I'm helping my buddy out, getting it
Mhm.
going for him.
Oh yeah. What, last week, 2 weeks ago when we first talked?
Yeah.
That's on my unobtainium list.
Well, this one might be for sale soon.
Still a unobtainium for me.
Mm.
Because if I could afford that, my Jeep would already be built. My roof would be fixed. And I wouldn't be talking to you on my laptop. I'd be on my desktop with a green screen behind me.
I know the feeling.
I mean, you got a green. It's a green camo blanket, but still.
No, I got a green screen. It's on the wall
Yeah.
over there.
Oh yeah, that too. So why? Oh yeah. By the way, what do they call Dodge up in Canada?
Dodge.
No, I mean, what's the other brand of Mopar, as it were, up in Canada? For those that don't know,
For the trucks?
the one I'm fascinated with. Yeah.
The Fargo.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys didn't get them, did you?
No.
Nope.
I think
There's
that's
been
why
a
I'm
few
fascinated.
imported, but
Mm.
that's not something that we've got that was on our market.
It's like a Holden up here. We don't get those either.
Well, I get a kick out of people that you'll see them for sale up here all the time, and it's like, oh, it's rare, 1953 Dodge Fargo. So I was comment, well, is it a Dodge or is it a Fargo? Make up my mind, right?
Yeah.
It's like GM guys when you call their Chevy a GMC or vice versa, they get their panties
Yeah.
in a wad, right? What's a Chevy? Oh, okay. What's the difference? The emblem,
Yep.
basically.
That's
The grill.
$100 more per
Yeah.
square inch.
So what is it? Gosh, what was it? I know that you done the first one you showed me was the mid '80s Ram Hemi swap.
Yeah, that was my buddy Eddie's truck.
Yeah,
That was
everybody needs a buddy named Eddie.
well. That truck started off. He had bought it. It was a 6-cylinder truck, 6-cylinder with a 3-speed, and it was all. I don't know what was wrong with the motor when he got it. There was whether it was seized up or whatever, but the truck didn't run when he bought it. So he took the slant 6 out and sold it, got rid of it, and then he was just looking. He actually had a big block. He bought what he thought was a 440 and a 727 to put in it. But it turned out he was sending me pictures of it, and it was an industrial 413. So it had all the weird water pump and heads and all that stuff on it. So I said, like that'll go in there, but it's all oddball stuff, and it'll just be more hassle than anything to make it run. So he was like, couldn't decide what to do. Well, then he was just looking for any old 360, 318, just anything to throw in the truck. And I see, like, he's my buddy, right? But I see an ad he's got an ad on Facebook looking for this stuff. And I said, why didn't you just message me? Like, I've got the 318 that come out of my crew cab. Like, when I took it out of the crew cab, because I come and swap the crew cab, I lifted it all out in one chunk, like the motor, tranny, the rat. I never even drained the rat. I picked it all out in one piece, and it was sitting beside the shop. So I said, there you go. That's everything, even the wiring harness, because I took all that out. Like, both trucks were the same year.
Plucked it straight out.
Yeah, basically.
Plug
So, like,
and
actually,
play.
Yeah, really.
I had posted a video of that engine running just on my garage floor, just to say, like, it's a good motor. So we put that in there initially, and he drove it for, I don't know, a year and a half or something like that. And then he was all about horsepower, wanted to do burnouts, right? That's all he cared about, was doing burnouts. And he was going to build a stroker and all this. And I said, well, you just put a Hemi in it. And he was, well, I don't know how to do that. And I said, well, give me some money, I'll buy you a Hemi and we'll do it.
I know a guy.
I know a guy. Well, yeah. So
Yeah.
it was just ended up being a stock 05 truck motor, but we put a 6.1 cam in it, and the OCP intake that Joe Cone makes. It's the only dual plane intake for a Hemi, and then he wanted a carburetor for, I don't know, for nostalgic reasons. So then we put a Holley carburetor on it and an MSD6 ignition system, and away it went. And then it was like, after we'd bought all that stuff, then he decided, maybe I should go fuel injection. I said, it's too late, man. the seeds are sown.
Yeah, you're getting the carburetor now, dude.
Get a new motor, and we'll do that, and then you can have both.
Yeah.
And we don't have to go back and forth and back and forth. Look, this is,
Well, in all honesty, like I had done the Hemi swap in my second gen already, and like once I had all the wiring done, I just hit the key, it fired up, and sat there and idled just like a brand new truck. So and it goes like hell. So I don't really see a point in like going backwards by putting a carburetor on a modern engine. But
yeah, no, it just doesn't make sense.
well, but at the same time, it was neat to do. But it just created so much. Like, not saying it's not, impossible or nothing, but you need a laptop set timing. So whereas
It's not practical.
it's not practical. It's not as simple as like an old small block with a distributor and a carburetor. You can twist it and turn it and touch it, whatever. And you can with the Hemi. It's more involved.
Mhm.
And his truck never did run quite as strong as mine does. So, and mine was all completely stock, basically.
Yeah, yours is 4-wheel drive too, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he's got the same thing, the General, not like I have, but he's got his. I forgot about that Hemi swap, second gen.
See, I
as
want
soon
to
as
do a
you
Hemi
said it,
swap
I was
on the
like,
Jeep.
that's right. Yeah. Get a Hemi. There's a salvage yard out on 247.
No.
What year's your Jeep?
That's a 14.
Yeah, see, like that's even easier because like it's just a matter of physically mounting it in there. It talks to the CAN bus and everything. Like all your gauges work. It's like almost plug and play to put one in them.
Yeah, I was actually thinking of just buying a. There was a. It's a 14 Ram truck that had one in it, and all I had to do was take the motor out of the truck and put just the motor, and it would bolt right up to the transmission and everything.
Yeah.
But I was like, if I'm going to do a swap and I'm going to go crazy, I'm just going to go buy the big motor that I want, maybe not the Elephant or more the Demon.
Now one,
and build the powerhouse Jeep that I want. I don't want to be able to put the mud tires on it and go show off, but how fun would it be to put, R888s on it and smoke it four wheels down the highway? I mean, I could do both with that thing. It would just be amazing.
I think we need to talk Bubba into Hemi swapping his Durango.
Oh, wait.
Maybe I'll get there one day.
You don't have a Hemi in it?
No. Wish I did.
These days.
I don't have a Hemi in my truck either, which
Shut up. You could have got away with it, but now you can't. Way to go.
Yeah. I have too many witnesses right here, so I can't say that. See, there's a 4.7 ECM and wiring harness. Is that all? I wonder if it all matches up to the Hemi.
See,
I mean, I know that I have that 5.7 that's the Eagle head. It's a newer, it's 2012 engine, but with the Eagle heads, and I got to get a non MDS cam. But
I've never done it personally, but I've heard tell, so don't quote me, that guys have run the Hemis off of the 4.7 ECM. It's just a matter of matching up to make sure you got the right reluctor wheel, because the later engines 09 and up had a 58 tooth reluctor wheel, and 03 to 08 had a 32. I want to say 32, but don't quote me. It might be 35, but I can't remember. I think it's 32.
Wait a minute.
But they changed halfway through. So
no, I have a 2012 ECM. Now that I think about it, it's sitting behind the seat of the General. It just now hit me. I have the ECM for it. Out of a 2012, I know whether it'll plug into a 07 harness. I have no idea.
No, it probably won't. It's too new. It's the totally different ECM. If you had one out of up to 08, because
I have to go with all 2007 sensors, crank sensor, cam sensor, all the things. Okay. Well,
now you can change the tone wheel on the crank, but you got to take the motor apart. It's more hassle than it's worth. You just find an old motor. They're cheaper anyway.
The motor's sitting on the engine stand as it is.
But it's a 12, right?
Yep.
Yes, it's an Eagle engine.
I don't know. I'll figure it out at some point. I gotta get. I got two in front of it. I got an O2 Yukon that I gotta put a transmission in, if you can imagine that. And then finishing up on her 05 Tahoe that just had the transmission work done. I gotta finish it up. Doing tune up and stuff like that to it. And then after that, then I can touch my truck. So I'm going to rock the 4.7 for a little bit longer. So what do you think? Go to a salvage yard and just trade that 5.7 Eagle in for an 07 5.7?
I'd try to find a wrecked 07 Hemi truck and just take everything out of it. Then you get everything.
Yep.
That sounds like a plan.
I'm all about keeping things simple.
Yeah, but the Eagle heads though, they're far better than the.
Yeah, oh yeah. But
I don't know. I'll figure it out. I was planning on rebuilding that engine anyway.
Little bit of work, a lot of bit of work.
yeah,
I mean, it'll work either way. Just how much do you want to put into it to make it work?
Right.
That's really what it's going to boil down to. That's why I haven't even started working on that iron head of mine. Because I'm not really into cars as much as I am into motorcycles.
Right.
But I haven't even started on the iron head. Hell, I got to fix the other bike that's on the lift before I can even put the iron head up there. And that thing hasn't even been started. So.
Yeah, you almost had me pulled into working on building up my own bike, but I don't know, man.
You don't want to ride motorcycles.
You're right.
You don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. You're already addicted to Dodge trucks. You don't need a motorcycle. I was going to say, you don't need a motorcycle addiction, too. I have 3 of them in my garage. One of them runs, and I don't want to ride it because I want to ride the other 2 that don't work.
That makes sense. What was it about Dodge, Craig?
for me,
Yeah.
oh, just my dad.
Just your dad? Yeah.
Like I said, he was always a Dodge guy, so it just by default, really. That and like I live like I don't know, like half an hour, 3/4 of an hour from one of the largest GM assembly plants in Canada. It's the Oshawa Truck Assembly Plant. So we essentially live in Chevy country, and there's just like, don't get me wrong, like I appreciate anything cool, right? Like, but everybody's got them, and I just like being different. So, or I'm stupid, one or the other. I don't know.
You like to be differently stupid.
There you go. But
I mean, there's Ford too, and people openly buy those.
Yeah, well, I had Fords. Like when I was a kid, there used to be an off-road thing that happened around here. It was called Cedar Springs Off-Road Mudfest, whatever they called it. And it was a big to-do. Like they had dirt bike races and off-road buggies and monster trucks and truck pulling and everything. It was a pretty big deal. And when I was 13 or 14, I can't remember, my uncle gave me a 78 one-ton Ford truck that he was building up for something, and then he lost his storage. So he says, you can just have it. So it was just a cab and chassis. Like it was actually a stake truck at one time, so it was like longer than a country mile. So we shortened it up and put the front spring hangers were actually underneath the cab, so it had like a 93-inch wheelbase. It was the same wheelbase as a Honda CRX. So, and then we welded pipe on top of the springs to make them taller and filled them with rubber and built this tough truck. Basically, they had these tough truck things, and basically you just take a stock truck and you go around the dirt bike track. So that was the first Ford that I had, and I spent more time fixing it than I did driving it. So then later on, what's that?
That's a Ford.
That's a Ford, yeah. Well, and then
Like owning a Harley Davidson. I've got 3 of them sitting in the garage.
I'm getting to the best part here. So the promoters of the this event wanted to have like a tough truck race, but not the typical tough truck, because the tough trucks went out one at a time and it was timed, right? So you're racing the clock basically, mainly because it was too dangerous to have the trucks on the track at the same time, and you're going over dirt bike jumps and stuff. So it was pretty intense. Like, I shouldn't say intense, but like dangerous, basically.
No, it's intense. It's intense.
Yeah. So they wanted to have a race of like an entry level class of stock pickup trucks racing on the actual off-road track that the buggies and stuff raced on. So there's no major jumps or nothing. It's more high speed. And they because we knew the promoter, so he's like, if we can get some trucks together, this would be awesome. So I once again, through one of my dad's customers, he had an 81 Ford, or an 80 or 81, I can't remember, just a half ton, 2-wheel drive short box, 302. And he just gave me the truck, just had to put his company name on the side of it. So we did it all, got it all ready to go. And we were the only truck, so we never actually got to race anybody with it. So, but what bugged me was the 2 trucks were like a year and a half apart, and there was not one single piece that was interchangeable between the 2 of them. And then there may only be 3 bolts holding it on, but you can guarantee everyone's a different size. So I just, at that point in time, it solidified my distaste for Fords. So, and I was only 13 or 14. Like, I mean, at that point I was already a Mopar guy, but I was still impressionable. Well, that was an impression that lasted. So,
yep. See,
but actually,
I'm the same way with Ford, because I do not like Ford vehicles. I do not. I never have. I never will. But let's talk about the Ford Mustang, because who still has the title of American muscle car?
still, like,
They have kept their standard exactly the same.
Yeah.
And I respect that.
yeah.
Do I
yeah,
like
and
the Mustang? No. I think it's complete trash, like the rest of Ford. But it is the best vehicle that Ford makes. It is the most marketable vehicle that Ford makes. And it's not a terrible vehicle. It's just a Ford. I don't like it.
yeah.
I
Well,
agree.
In high school, everybody had a Fox body Mustang. So that's the other thing too. They're like belly buttons. Everybody had one.
Yeah, we call it the Me Too.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I mean, it really wasn't. I don't know. I just wasn't a Ford guy. My dad had Mopars, so I had Mopars, right? And I just liked the options in Mopars. Like, the thing that one of the things that bugged me about GM stuff was, like, Oldsmobile has a 350, Chevy has a 350, Pontiac has a 350, Buick has a 350, and there's nothing the same between any of them.
Nope.
Whereas if you had a 360 in a Dodge or Plymouth, it didn't matter. It was the same engine. So their interchangeability was pretty good in that regard. So it made it cheaper to buy parts.
Yeah.
I was surrounded in school. I was surrounded by a bunch of GM guys and Ford guys, and I was always the odd man out. If I had, and I can remember being in school, and anybody listening to this, a few of my school buddies do. I can remember telling them about my Papa's 74 Dodge D100 club cab, long bed, and it had a 440 in it. And it was, it was canned. I mean, it had a bump stick. It had a, for my people down in Australia, I know I have 2 people down there that listen. It sounds lopey is what I heard. It sounds very lopey. So, but no, I can remember just going to school saying, man, this is the baddest truck I've ever seen in my life. And it was that 2-tone where it was yellow and it had the bronze bottom. I have a picture of it somewhere in the family album somewhere. And I mean, it was just, and then I grew up, getting older and all that, talking to Daddy and hearing the stories, and that exactly it was at one time the fastest truck in Middle Georgia. I mean, nobody could touch him. And it, Papa was an old iron worker. He put a lot of the bridges in around around here and the structure for a big coliseum that we have. So, but and he had the iron worker money, buddy. You know, in the 70s and brand new truck wasn't even old, not even a few thousand miles on it. He took it down to somebody of his and had the engine rebuilt. Slapped a big cam in it, two full barrel carburetors, and you know, let it ride. So he was out there running up and down the interstate. Well, yeah, up and down the interstate and all that, just whooping everybody. And somewhere around 2000, I think, maybe 01, somebody scrapped that truck. It was gone. Because I saved up some money, right? I was working 2 jobs at the time. I was trying to save up some money to go get that truck. And it's gone. So it was heartbreaking, but I got the memories. But that was my first, I guess that was my first, you know, this is Dodge. You know. So, and Papa was a Dodge man. He had that D100, and then he had a Ram Charger, and my daddy had a Cuda, but it was a small block. I think it was a 340 car, and it was black on black. So from what he told me back in the day, when you would order the special, you know, the headers and all the special equipment, they would put it in the trunk, and you'd take it home and swap all your parts over. If I remember the story correctly, if don't you have a 60 something D100?
Yeah, it's you mean my Fargo?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah, that one.
I was trying to compose myself. And when he did it, I couldn't hold it.
What do they call it? Do they still call it a D100 if it's a Fargo?
Yeah, it's still the D10, D100, whatever, right? Still classifies the same.
Right.
But it's a hodgepodge of trucks. Like it's probably about 3 different bodies scabbed together.
Really?
It was just dumb luck. They were all the same color and faded and patinaed the same way. So
wow. Were they like service vehicles for a company or something?
No, actually, it's funny. The cab and I want to say one door or one fender came out of West Virginia. So it was a Dodge cab, and then I bought the rest of it from Alberta. And the one from Alberta, I bought it just for the tailgate, to be honest with you. And when it got here, it was all the same colors. So I ended up using the box and the hood and the fenders and the grill and all that stuff. So it ended up being a Fargo, but it's actually a Southern, if you can call it Southern. It was a greenhouse. Like there was no floor left in it.
Nice.
It was.
Those are the best ones. Then you could just build the rack and put the wood planks in it.
Well, I got a little more. I got a little fancier than that, but yeah, I built
it into a hot tub. That's bad.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, no, it was just people pick it apart as they say that I ruined a good truck. I was like, well, which one? Because it's about 3 different trucks, so make up your mind. Because the chassis is actually an 85 frame. And it was a good buddy of mine's truck in high school. It was a slant 6 with a 3-speed standard or 4-speed standard. And he took that body off it and put it on a 4-wheel drive chassis with a big block. And the frame was just sitting out in his pasture back behind his dad's farm. And I think I traded him a set of roller lifters for the frame and built the truck around that. So it's actually an 85 underneath, but so because the cab was so rotten, I thought, well, I'll just lower it down. So most of the lowering in that truck is from the body being channeled down over the chassis, like 6 inches, I think it is.
Good Lord. That's a reach.
I was going to try to pull up Facebook because I see on your page it has
it's on my cover photo.
Yeah, but I don't have Facebook on that
computer.
Yeah, I don't remember my password. I just set it and send it. You want to memorize? Yes, because I won't remember. Click.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's what engine do you have in it?
It's a 440 with a 871 blower on it.
Yeah, I see the blower. Huh. Nice. Of course, your second gen with the Hemi swap second gen over here. I've thought about that so much back and forth about just doing that instead of doing the 4.7 to Hemi swap. But I think everybody that helped me drop the 360 in the general would probably come over and punch me with a big toe. So,
well, my second gen started off as a 318 truck, and I'll never forget the mileage when I bought it. The day, because I bought it, when the hell did I buy it? A month after my 19th birthday. So I've had that truck for 21 years now. And it was originally just a 318, but back to the mileage. It had 289, 442 on it when I bought it. So it was a small block Ford and a 442 Olds. So I'll never forget those numbers.
289, 442. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So anyway, so it was originally just 318, but it had big miles on it. I think when I took the 318 out, it had 356,000 kilometers on it. So you can do the math to convert that to Eagle miles or whatever you call them. And I got a short block, brand new short block for a 360 Magnum from Chrysler, and then it was brand new cylinder heads, like just factory production heads. But I did a mild port job on them as best as a dumb kid knows how to do, I guess, and put a comp cam in it and a different computer and stuff. And then I swapped the 360 in, and I think I only put about 50,000 kilometers on it, give or take. And then we used to have here emissions testing on light duty vehicles. So it always passed fine. And then I stopped driving it so much when I got other vehicles. I had just little beater cars that I drove for fuel mileage and whatnot. And the sitting around didn't do any favors, so I kept having a hard time getting it through emissions tests. It had to be tested every 2 years. So the first year it gave me a hard time, and I managed to get it through. I just had to do some I had to tune up and stuff on it, nothing major, but it just didn't quite pass. And then the next year, 2 years later, it was really hard to get through, and I finally got it through and got it passed. But the problem was it was OBD1 being a 94, right? Mm-hmm. So it was really, really tricky. We had one scanner in the shop at work that would talk to it, and you had to like pet it and talk dirty to it, and you couldn't turn the key off, and it was such a pain in the ass to be able to watch. All I wanted to do was watch the live data and see what the fuel trims were doing, so I could see what the hell was going on with it. Yeah. So I thought, well, I'll just change it to something OBD2, right? And I originally was going to just buy like a 98 Dodge truck. Actually, I already had one, and I was just going to gut all the wiring harness out of it and just convert it to a newer OBD2 computer system. So at least then I could talk to it and diagnose it if need be, because the motor didn't have any issues. It was just the old computer was just too dumb to deal with anything, right? So and then I got looking, and for whatever reason the Hemi swap popped up, right? And I thought, well, that's an option too, right? Mm-hmm. And then my brother found me a 2006 Dodge truck that had been hit in the front, and it was a guy had bought it from the auction for the exact reason I wanted it, was for the engine, but he changed his mind. So I ended up buying the whole truck for $1,000, and I pulled the motor and tranny out, and I think I sold, when it was all said and done, I kept the motor and the wiring harness, and I sold $1,700 worth of stuff off the truck. Mm. So I was $700 in the green and had the motor and stuff sitting there on the shop floor. So the motor sat under my workbench that I'm actually sitting against right now for, 3 or 4 years before I actually finally did it. And then I just pulled the trigger one weekend, tore the truck apart, and dug in. So it wasn't too bad of a job, really. Like it's like they were meant to fit there. So other than I had to modify the frame a little bit to clear the oil filter, but that was it.
Huh. Good old hammer of persuasion.
Well, I would have done that, but it was a lot. It had to go. I ended up having to put the 45-degree oil filter adapter on it and notch the frame a little bit just to clear it. But use the stock rad hoses. One AC line even fit the pump properly. Like I used 09 up truck manifolds. They fit like they were supposed to be. Like it was a really straightforward swap. Actually, like I did it in a month of Saturdays, like Saturdays and Sundays, and evenings. So from start to finish.
I remember you kind of, I asked that. I think back when I finished my 360 swap out here. It was before that, and I think you sent me. I could probably go back and find it, but you sent me all the pictures of the before, during, and after build of that truck, that second gen.
Well, I think that's actually how we met.
Yeah. Well, it was on one of the groups on Facebook, Hemi Swap groups, and you were like, I mean, I'll tell you all this. He's so giving with information. I think it's just that mechanic in him, and especially when it comes to projects and people helping people, which I think, to me, I mean, some of the best people I've ever met in my life has been just because of our love of cars, and or being a gearhead, and I say cars as a general term. It kind of encompasses everything, but just like my buddy DJ, we bonded over working on his Ford in his driveway, and just like we've never, up until 2 weeks ago, I think we talked over this.
Yeah.
But, we never really, you're way up there in Canada anyway, up there with your kilometers and, but, did you hear what we were joking around when I got pulled over in Niagara Falls?
Yeah, I heard that. I'm still about 19 episodes behind on the podcast. I'm trying to catch up.
Pull over.
It's a cardigan. Thanks for asking.
But yeah, man. I mean, even still, thank you for listening to my podcast. I mean, I know that
somebody does. Not just Shut up, Turtle. Shut up, Turtle.
But I think, and you and I have talked about this, and I guess I'll bring it up now. That I think, in a way, as aggravating as they can be, as frustrating, trying to figure this out, trying to do this or that, or have an idea, or if you're like me, where you see something and you're like, you see a vehicle and you buy it, and it's sitting there in your yard, sitting in your driveway, and you just look at it, and you just either you have an image on what your goal is, or you see something else and you're like, I'm gonna do the same, or like whether and it even goes down to all the minute details, to wheels, exhaust, what radio you want to put in it, what size speaker you're gonna put, what the interior is, whether you're gonna repaint it a whole different color, like that 87 I have in the backyard. It's just that red,
Do you want to just piss the neighbors off, or do you want the cops called?
Right.
Yeah, that's usually where I'm at.
Well, it's like my 94 when I went to go have exhaust done on it. The guy was like, well, what do you want? It'll be the same price, either glass packs or Flowmaster. And I was like, just put glass packs on it, man. I'm not a big Flowmaster guy. Most of your Flowmasters around here on either they're on X pipes under a Mustang, or they're on a Chevy truck.
Trying to sound like a Mustang.
A squatted Chevy truck at that.
Hey, straight pipe or no pipe.
Squatted Chevy truck. Anyway,
I'm gonna disagree with you. I'm a Flowmaster guy myself. I've got Flowmasters on my on my second gen, and I will say though, I I've done the exhaust on that truck twice now. So when I first bought it, it had like a fake dual system on it with glass backs. So it had some rumble, but it wasn't a high performance at all. So when I first did it, I had an exhaust shop because I didn't have access to a pipe bender. Put true 2 1/4 duals on it with an H pipe and flow masters and dual cats and everything, because everything has to be emissions compliant up here, right? So you got to keep your all, because they'll pull you over on the side of the road and inspect you. So two cats, 240 series flow masters and dual tailpipes, right? But a true dual exhaust system. And that was the best modification I ever did to that truck, short of the Hemi swap later on. And it sounded awesome. Well, then, I don't know, 4 or 5 years go by, and I drove that truck year round back then. So it was in the winter and salt and crap. And it all rotted off. So I had it all done again by the same guy did it the first time in stainless, but in 2.5. So it duplicated the whole system, but did it in 2.5. And going from, I don't know, I'm talking like a stone stock 318 Magnum, going from 2 1/4, or from the fake duals to the 2 1/4, woke that truck right up. It was like it was an animal after that. That's the only modification. And then I thought, well, if something's good, more is better. So I went to 2.5. And when I went to 2.5, it killed all the bottom end torque that motor had. And now it's got an awful blatty sound. And because it's stainless, it's never going to rot off again. So there it is. So I'm not entirely impressed with the sound of it. Now, mind you, when I did the exhaust in that truck, it was, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. So my tastes have changed. Now that I'm older, I'm driving it. I'm like, oh, I wish this thing was quieter.
God, crank the radio up so loud.
Yeah. Well, I think because I am going to do a body off on that truck, I want to tear it right to a frame and do the same thing I did to it that I did to my crew cab. So when I do, I think I'm going to cut the 40s off and put 50 series on them. They're a little quieter and see if that'll help. But I love the sound of them. It's just loud.
I'm more of a Borla guy.
See, that's the sound I can get behind. Because my Fargo, it's got Magnaflows on it. Magnaflows or Dynaflows? Magnaflows. I don't know. They both sound like they both sound awful. They sound like you're trying to spit through a wet rag is what they sound like. They're an awful sounding muffler. But
like an elephant sneezing through a wet rag.
It's awful. Yeah. It's awful. Yeah. But they were free. So they were 3-inch stainless mufflers. A friend of mine had them on his truck, and he had a late 70s Dodge D350 dually that he towed his camper with 440 in it, and he took whatever reason he put these on it thinking it would be better, and he looks over at his wife and she's plugging her ears driving up the highway, so he said, I got to take these mufflers back off. So he was just going to throw them in the scrap, so I scooped them up and they're on the Fargo now, and now it sounds like shit. So
there you go.
I used to exhaust on it used to be just dump in front of the rear end. And it was just so loud inside because there's no insulation, right? So it just emanates through the whole truck. You just droned to death.
The vibration.
And I was
sound.
It's just awful, right?
The cab and everything. Yeah,
everything's just tin and rattling. It's just awful. So I was going to my buddy's place up in north of me, and I got to go across a set of locks, like boat locks, and there's one part where it's all graded. So you're going across the bridge. It's basically a dam, and there's one part that's graded. So I'm driving across, it's like, and then as soon as I got to the grade, it just got real quiet. And I was like, this is nice. And then I go back over the pavement. It's like, I was like, oh, I got to change that. So since then, I've taken them and dumped them out just in front of the wheel. So it's quieter in the truck, but now it sounds like a Subaru because you can only hear half the motor when you're going down the road. You can't hear both halves.
That's why mine goes straight out the back.
But my 94 does that. It goes straight out the back, so it at least gets an even sound. So
yeah.
But maybe I'm just getting too fussy.
I don't know what the Durango has underneath it. What's yours got on there, Bubba?
Flowmaster 40s, and the catalytic converter was deleted. So it sounded all right with just the one Flowmaster two dual pipes coming out the back.
1 in, 2 out.
Yeah. But it got louder, of course, with the cat deleted, and it sounds better, I think. But it's got the check engine light, so I might have to change that
and paint it.
when they
Oh my goodness! You know they
When
make a
they-
delete kit for stuff like that, right?
what are you talking about?
They make cat delete kits where it's a fake cat with some kind of special O2 sensor on the other end that'll make your vehicle read properly, like there was a cat, but there's no cat.
Oh yeah. I mean,
An
you can
extension
drill.
on the O2 sensor button moves the
Yeah,
O2 sensor out of the exhaust to make it run
Yeah.
a little different temperature.
Yeah.
Not that I condone such a thing.
No,
I have to.
No. Yeah.
Oh,
No.
we don't
I'm
have-
responsible for enforcing that shit up here, so
No.
I can't condone it.
Yeah. No. I don't condone it either. I'm just saying that you went through all that work to make loud noise, and now you're like, well, I don't even like it. And it's like you could just do it the simple way.
I didn't say I didn't like it.
Oh, I thought you said you didn't like it. It was too loud.
No.
Which
It
is the
is
other thing I'm
loud.
laughing. Which is the other
is
thing I'm
loud.
laughing at because I'm old and I'm going, it's too loud.
And especially, I went 3 hours south to South Georgia recently, and it was just
Congratulations, you made it back.
it was full noise all the way there. So
I had when I took mine to the guy was like, because to be honest, my daddy built the exhaust that was on it when I got the truck, and it was like 3 different size pipe. When first time I ever put it up on the lift, I was trying to piece it all back together from doing the 360 swap and
Looked like a trumpet.
make sure it was all make sure everything was buttoned up and all that, and then it looked like a Dr. Seuss trumpet. It was all
Got a couple of X pipes on it. Whatever. Let's go.
You want to use this fence pipe? Okay.
Oh my God. I've seen it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
But it was all rusted and all that. So finally, and it's been nagging me. I finally broke down because when I pulled out of work one day, and I took a left
And it fell off.
and nailed, just punched it. And I was screaming down the road. And suddenly I hear this blang, 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 blang. The truck was still pulling. So I thought I lost the drive shaft when I first heard it. Clack, 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 clack. And so I whipped it back around, went back to the shop, and crawled underneath it in there. And the General has true doors. And when I looked underneath it, I just saw and it was the passenger side pipe just hanging there. And I was like, okay. So I took a piece of wire hanger, ran inside, grabbed one of my uniforms. You come on a hanger when you get them from the uniform place. Wrapped it around the exhaust pipe, pulled it up tight, hooked it on the bottom of the bed, and just took a wrench and wrapped it around. And then I went home. I mean, what else could I do? So the next day, went to the muffler shop, and he gets underneath. He goes, I said, yeah, you're lucky it's still on. The rest of it's still under here. I was like, yeah, I know. He goes, it doesn't have any cats. I said, yeah, I know that too. He said, we ain't supposed to touch it. I said, yeah. So I pulled out the cash for it, handed it to him, and said, I was never here. He was like, sounds like a deal. I walked away. Call me when it's done. He said, all right. So a couple hours later, he called me back, and it sounds quieter because it's got glass packs on there. It had some rusty old cherry bombs on it to begin with, but which I mean, it sounded like a monster coming down the road, and it was still like with that 360. I like that. Maybe it's because it's a shorter bed, short wheelbase. Maybe it's a lighter truck than the 07 is, but I swear that second gen is faster than that third gen is. I don't know. People
want to race for pinks?
What, against your Jeep?
No, against your truck. I'll drive one, you drive the other. Winner takes all.
Right. I own both of them already.
Not if I win.
But
I'll race you in the red one.
The one with no motor and transmission. Oh,
Damn, I thought we were gonna have a good view there for a minute, but he's back.
so, but like I said, man, there's something is aggravating and all that is these trucks and being a mechanic, turning wrenches, busting your knuckles, brainstorming on ideas and why do we like, several times asking yourself, why do we do what we do? Like you're a mechanic and you like that's your job. Just like me, I'm a truck mechanic, but
Same difference.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, so what is it? There's something at the same time, I think, therapeutic. Because you step in the shop and that's your world, man. It helps you with all your anxiety, even though this may cause you a little bit, but it's still, there's a goal to reach there. It's something you're working on. And I believe that a lot of life's problems have been solved right there in the garage. At least for me, anyway. I can't speak for anybody else. Mulling over something that you got to do or something. What about you?
Yeah. No, I'd say the same thing. It's therapeutic to come out here and, accomplish something, so to speak. You get I don't know, it's hard to describe something that's your passion, right?
Yeah.
Like it gets frustrating at work doing it, mainly because you're expected to use that creativity, But when you can fix something and solve a problem, that's pretty good. Makes you feel pretty good about yourself, right? But at home, it's just as simple as therapy, right? It just, like you said, just mellows me out, right?
Yeah. I could have the world on my shoulders and step out there in the carport knowing I've got to do something. And here lately, it's all been just maintenance. That I haven't done anything special, like on that 87. I got it back from Turtle, and put it on the back behind the house, and it's basically been sitting there ever since. And just because I haven't had a whole lot of time, and I just recently, within the last couple months, got the 360 for it, and it's a cop engine. It's a 360 Interceptor.
It's the E58 or whatever it is.
Yeah. Is it E58?
That's the Little Express truck / cop car motor, late 70s.
Yeah. So you got the 4-barrel intake and carb on it. The old thermoquad.
Well, when you need help putting it in, let me know. I'll help you drop it in. I'll show you how to do it. Again.
Quad.
Ha ha ha. And luckily, I kept the engine mounts from the original 318 that was in that truck. I found those the other day.
So is there no engine in the truck at all right now?
No.
Nope. It's got an interior. That's it.
I did get a replacement bent seat for it.
Mm-hmm. Sure did.
I just got to find a transmission and
see, I'm glad I didn't keep it
all
because
that.
I was going to put buckets in it.
I thought about that, man, but that
I was
bench seat is like a couch, dude.
No, I get that. No, that's why I'm saying I'm glad I didn't keep it because I was so going to put a way overpowered Hemi in it, fat tires on the back. I mean, I was going to go stupid build with that for no apparent reason. I was never going to track. It was going to be a daily gas guzzler to and from work.
Yeah.
And that's the enjoyment I would have gotten out of it.
I'm lucky.
You're gonna use it.
Yeah.
I'm not. Like I was just gonna build some badass truck out of it for no apparent reason.
I mean, I thought about even doing getting a Holly EFI for that engine, but I don't think it. For what I want to do with it is just old hot rod build. Slap a cam in it, clean it up, get it running right, send it.
Yep.
I
was going to do a new hot rod build. I was looking for something with more power than that thing would ever need.
So, yeah, okay. I'm starting now, I guess, is what we're going to do from this episode on. Go back to the roots of how I started this podcast. And, where we tell our own personal stories. I got sidetracked a little bit going along there, but, a few people reminded me of, hey, and I agreed. So, I am very grateful for all of our followers. I know we're going a little bit long here, but before I wrap it up, I do want to say thank you for all of our followers, listeners, people on here watching. I don't get into the analytics of things. I think that kind of messes with your head a little bit, makes you kind of worry. But you, for one, Craig, you're one of them, and I'm very grateful. You just spend your time listening to me talk. Damn hillbilly down here in Georgia. I think you're one of the first. Probably one of the first people I'm actually able to say directly to thank you. But yeah, I'm going to continue this format, I guess, for lack of a better term, of telling our own personal stories and our own personal experiences of things. And I know we're going to wrap it up here in a minute, but Craig, you're more than welcome to come back if you got any stories, anything you ever want to share. But before we get that far, now I also do talk about music. So what kind of music do you get down to in the shop? I mean, you're up there in Canada, so what? You rocking Rush or something? Or no,
no, God, that's you can take that and no, sir. We have a problem up here with our radio broadcasting
soundtracks.
We have what's called the CRTC, the Canadian Radio Television Broadcasting, whatever.
What?
And they dictate to radio stations that they have to play a certain percentage of Canadian music. So, or Canadian artists, right? And there are some really good Canadian artists, but there's a lot that I don't like listening to. So by default, it was like rammed into our faces all the time. So Rush is definitely not on my listening list.
What about Nickelback?
Probably because of that. Because we didn't have a choice. We had to listen to it. But man. No, realistically, like my
Nickelback.
Nickelback, yeah, okay. Stop. My music tastes are all over the place. It kind of varies from like, hey, come check this out, to don't judge me, right? Like I listen to everything. But once again, influenced by my dad. Like growing up, he was always a huge ZZ Top fan. So I grew up listening to ZZ Top. Well, here, look, there's my, if you can see it, ZZ Top man. Eliminator. Yeah, right? So like I'm dyed in the wool ZZ Top fan. But focused mainly on like the Eliminator album and Afterburner. That's where it's at.
I will trade you a ZZ Top album for a Fargo emblem. I have a ZZ Top.
If I find a Fargo emblem, I'll give one. I'll send it to you. You're on my list. Don't worry. Because like I said, the only ones I have are the ones on my truck. But the minute I come across one, it's in the mail on the way to you. Don't worry.
You got just a little backstory.
On the D100.
But yeah, like
I behind me in the. But I have a ZZ Top album. I think I got Fandango. I know.
So that's one of the early ones too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I have Eliminator. I think I got 2 or 3 of them. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. No, Eliminator is definitely my favorite, but Afterburner right up there too. But I've seen them in concert 4 times. It would have been a 5th, but COVID screwed that up. We were going to go see them in Ottawa. We had tickets bought and paid for, and then it got canceled. So now that Dusty's gone, you can't ever see the real ZZ Top. So it's not the same.
Nope.
But No, it's like I said, ZZ Top was always it. But I listen to anything. Like there's there's a local band here. You guys might have heard of them. I don't know. Maybe I'm pushing it here, but you ever heard of 3 Days Grace?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
they grew up like 20 minutes from me.
Nice.
And like I've never met any of them, but like everybody I know knows somebody that knows them. You know what I mean? So
It's a small town.
yeah, exactly.
You ever heard
exactly.
of
But
you ever heard of the group Rehab?
Rehab?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they sang the song Bartender.
If I heard it, probably. Like I'm terrible with names of stuff, right?
They're famous all across the United States within the last 10 years.
Longer than that, man. They've been out.
But I'm
they've
saying
been-
like across the United States.
Oh yeah.
They only got
yeah.
popular within the last 10 years. The lead singer, his name is Danny. I remember growing up with the guy,
Oh,
and I'm 44. He's older than I am.
Yep.
So like their music became popular after some kind of retro wave of like garage band music. And
Yeah, somewhere in
that's
the
basically
mid
what they were in the
to
late
late
80s.
aughts. The 2007, 8, 9, 10 era, Rehab kicked off big. They did a bunch of videos with Hank Jr. and
In their famous song Bartender, the bartender in the bar was Danny Trejo.
was it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's how popular they got when they remade that video, the big video everybody sees now on YouTube. Danny Trejo is the bartender. The bar is actually called Bahama Bob's. The building that they were in for that video isn't there anymore, but that was Bahama Bob's. You talk to anybody in the local area about the original Bahama Bob's that knows, they'll tell you that's the place. And then when they realize, oh God, that really is Danny Trejo he is the bartender.
I never even paid that video that much attention.
Yeah, most people do.
I'll have to watch it now.
Yeah, go check it out.
Oh yeah, Danny's in the videos wearing his shirt that says Houston County and black shirt says Houston County on it. Or
No,
is it Warner Robins?
arms. His shirt says Warner Robins. His arms say Houston County.
Yeah,
because that's where he spent most of his after high school days was in Houston County's.
And for those of you that are not
IMAX Hotel.
from Middle Georgia, it is Houston. It's not Houston.
Yes. He is not a Texas boy.
So what's in your playlist right now?
Everything.
You go out there, hit the car, hit the key in your truck. Any three of them.
Well, to put it in perspective of how far behind technology I am, you guys are all wearing headphones and talking this properly. I'm doing this on my phone. So that's how far behind the times I am. I still listen to CDs in my truck. So, and they're all mint because I'm very OCD and take care of my stuff. But right now, in my CD player, in my crew cab, my daily driver is I think the second 3 Days Grace album. So, but my Spotify playlist, like my just add, I just call it awesome. I just add everything. There's everything from DMX to Reba McEntire to ZZ Top, Motley Crue. What else is on there? I'd have to like give you an itemized list, but it's pretty much anything you can imagine. So I said like some of it is, hey, listen to this, or other parts are like, don't judge me. It's like good tunes are good tunes, right? I'm into anything. So
he's riding down the road screaming to the top of his lung. So here's your one chance, fancy. Don't let me down.
Yeah. I was gonna say he rolls down the window. It's fucking Reba. It's fancy.
That's on there. Like, don't worry. It's actually on there.
It's on my playlist too. I guarantee.
There you go. Reba, yeah. So like I can appreciate any good music, right? It's like I was always raised on rock and roll. I hated country as a kid, but then I'll tell you a short story.
It's the nostalgia.
And we were up at a field party one time, and now my second gen. Back in my younger partying days, that was at a field party or whatever. That's what I drove out there. Well, it always had an awesome stereo and 2 12s and a 500-watt amp. Like it would just pound, right?
Nice.
So I wasn't a country music fan, and I'm at this field party, and it's all good friends, like it's not like it's a bunch of strangers or nothing. and we're sitting there, and they've got some country, I don't remember what it was, playing on my buddy's S10's stock speaker. He had a CD player hooked to his stock single dash mounted speaker, and it just sounded terrible. And I was like, I'm the only guy that don't like country. I'm like, guys, you guys got to turn this crap off. I can't listen to this. Put something better on. And they're like, no, we all like it. It's our music, so it is. I said, well, at least put it on a good stereo, because that sounds awful. So they're like, well, nobody has a good stereo. So I'm just like, fine, give me the damn CD. So I took it and I plugged it into my CD player, and there we are. I opened the doors, and now we're cranking this country music over a good stereo out of my truck. I'm not really paying attention, standing around the fire, hanging out with friends, and I turn around, and Fishing in the Dark by Nitty Gritty Dirt Band's on. And it's just getting wound up, right? And I won't say her name, but I'm still friends with her to this day. There's one of the cuties we used to hang out with, and she's dancing on my tailgate wearing a tank top and short shorts to Fishing in the Dark. And I'm standing there looking at her going, I guess I'm a country boy now. So that opened my eyes to it, and I was like, well, I guess that solidifies it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like everybody can understand that barbecue stain on my white T-shirt.
There you go.
Yeah. Suddenly it's
Yeah, everybody can relate to that song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like what's that Kenny Chesney song? I Go Back. That one there resonates with me.
Yeah.
Like he's telling about a memory. Every time he hears a song, he thinks of a memory.
Yeah.
I can remember I was 16 or 17, maybe a little later. And he goes, I was driving up to my aunt and uncle's cottage. It's like a 2.5 hour drive. Just me and my little brother cannonballing it up there. And that song was on. So now every time I hear that song, that's the memory that it takes me back to is driving up there with my brother.
nice.
Yeah.
So it's funny how that stuff connects with your memories, right?
Oh yeah, I think life definitely has a soundtrack to it. In a lot of ways, I can pretty much, if I went down my friends list, and I'm not talking about Facebook, I'm talking about like legit friends. Not saying that we're not legit friends, but if I went down my friends list of people that I actually really know on a personal level, I could associate a song with more than likely, in some cases, 2 or 3 songs, but I can associate a song with that person. And in some cases, you hear a song, you think about that time period in life that in some way changed, it shaped you somehow or affected you in some kind of way and I think, music has that really, not bad, not hating on pop music. I know there's many people out there who like pop music. I'm not into it. I don't like rap a whole lot, but I will listen to some old school Dre, some old Eminem. Hell, I'll even listen to Gangsta's Delight, the Sugar Hill.
Yes, Sugar Hill Gang.
Oh man, that's a 12-minute song. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm. Go listen to The Message.
And that song was recorded in one take.
Mm-hmm.
That whole entire song was one take, 12 minutes between 3 dudes.
Used to dance to that song in the streets of San Diego when I was a kid.
So if Craig, if you got 12 minutes to kind of going down the road or something, yeah, pull it up, man. It's actually really very talented.
I've probably heard it. Like I said, that's my big problem is I know the songs, but I don't know the names of them. Like there's lots of them. I couldn't tell you unless it's something that I really want to know about. It's like, it's funny how that works.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It's just the way my brain works. If it's not important information, it doesn't get stored. It just gets tucked away in the side.
Jump the boogie, boogie the beat. Now what you hear is not a test, so I'm a rapping to the beat.
Yep. What about you, Bubba? What you got playing in your truck in the Rango?
Depends on. I guess it depends on my mood. I'm like Craig. I listen to a wide variety of stuff, and like you, Bosco. I mean, growing up, even though you probably don't want to admit it, you did play a good variety of stuff.
Oh, I
More
do.
rap than you probably would like to admit, but
It's because I had that 12-inch sub in the back of the truck, man.
It
yeah.
helps.
Uh-huh. Sure.
And I mean, yeah, I guess it just depends on what kind of mood I am. Occasionally, I'll listen to Q106 if I just want to have some background noise. Classic rock.
The good old radio.
But like what you said, I'm not big into pop. I can't do it.
But like you were saying, Craig, down here it's that pre-programmed. So what he was talking about, Q106, it's a local radio station, and all that. Dude, if it wasn't for Led Zeppelin or 80s hair band music or Pink Floyd, they wouldn't have a radio station because that's all they play. They don't play anything new.
Nowadays, yeah.
They don't play hardly anything from the 90s, which is as far as rock. I love alternative rock and grunge, I guess. But, especially when I'm at work, I can put that stuff on and I now if I start messing around and listen to like what I really like, the Allman Brothers and blues and stuff like that, it kind of slows me down at work. And I'll go over there and fidget, and I'll try to find a certain song or whatever. But if I just put it on like an alternative rock station, let it ride.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm the same. Like Bubba says, it's the mood, right? It depends on what you're feeling. So sometimes you just want to listen to death metal, and other times you just want to chill out listening to blues or something, right? It just depends on what you're feeling, what your emotions are doing, but it's the 90s stuff. It's starting to come around again. It's funny. There's a station up here called Q107, and it used to be classic rock. Now they used to play like mainly 60s rock, like 60s, early 70s. Like, they did a psychedelic Sunday, which was like, I hated it because it just ruined that music for me because they played it so much. Well, the Q is it's just called the Mighty Q up here, right? It's gone full circle. Like I was listening to it today and I heard Finger 11 on there, and I was like, wow, I'm old.
Yeah.
Because this is the classic station. It's playing Finger 11.
Classic rock, yeah.
Right? Like that was high school.
I heard Deftones on Q106, and when me and Bosco were growing up, that was the classic rock.
Yeah.
And for us, classic rock, like not actual classic rock for us, because our classic rock is probably older than that. But we're talking 70s and 80s rock music was classic rock in the 90s.
Yep.
Sad to think about now, but it was the late 1900s.
Now the kids call it the classics or classical.
Yeah, and it's like I heard Deftones on Q106 maybe a year or two ago, and they were like, classic rock, Q106, here's the Deftones. And I'm like, that's not classic rock. Don't do that.
You're expecting like the Beatles or the Rolling Stones or something, right?
I mean, some Zeppelin or something, because that's usually
was classic rock growing up, right?
Yeah, and now they're calling Deftones. Like, come on, they didn't come out until the 90s. That's not even classic rock.
Yeah.
That's grunge.
That's kind of how
alternative at best.
That's exactly how I felt when they dropped it. Middle Georgia's rock station, classic rock, Q106, and then they dropped Nirvana, and I went,
yeah.
Damn.
When they first started playing Nirvana, everybody was like, "Wait a minute, it's not even 1995 yet."
Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I don't know. Nirvana's pretty good, but they got to come up with some new stuff. They've been playing the same shit since the 90s.
I know, for real. I mean, look at Pink Floyd. They've done some stuff. Hell, Ozzy's still going. What the hell?
When I heard Seether for the first time, I actually thought it was like old Nirvana undiscovered stuff.
Yeah.
The very first, I was like,
everybody.
What is this?
Like, what the fuck is that? Kurt?
Yeah.
Did he pull a Tupac?
Didn't they say that was Machiavelli? Tupac
that was Machiavelli, but he pre-recorded all that stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All of the stuff that he recorded that was released after he died was all stuff that he had been recording the entire time. He had 11 albums lined up before he passed away. Like, he was on the market constantly.
Yeah, and speaking of that, who just recently dropped a new album, was Waylon Jennings. Shooter just found a whole slew of
Oh
stuff.
yeah, I forgot Shooter did find a whole bunch of stuff in the
Yeah,
talk to the family about it.
and yeah, talk to the family and all that, and Waylon and just some old recorded stuff that Waylon had put out from that he had recorded back in the 70s and during the whole outlaw country music movement.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a whole new Waylon album, 20 years after he died.
Yep, Waylon remastered.
So, which I haven't heard anything yet, but I'll look into it. I've been meaning to stop and look into it, see what's going on with it. But
Yeah,
I mean, there again, if you listen to Waylon Jennings, I know you're not a big country fan, but I like, I get down with Waylon and Hank Jr. and
classics.
Yeah, I'm not a big Willie Nelson fan. Maybe it's an unpopular opinion because everybody likes old.
He's not so much
Willie.
He's not so much country though anymore. He was in the beginning,
Yeah,
but he became southern rock easily. I mean, that's just a matter of opinion to me. I mean, listen to the stuff he's talking about. He ain't talking about no country stuff in the late 70s and 80s. He wasn't talking about country stuff anymore. He was talking about just normal stuff.
Yeah.
Good old Southern boys had to deal with like that. He was just talking about life. He wasn't talking about, being on a farm and the wife is leaving with the kids and taking the truck and the dog and the
Well, that's what happens.
house and,
That's what happens when you play country music backwards, right?
yeah,
Your dog comes back to life. Your wife comes back, and your truck starts, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Well, I hope the wife don't come back. Once she leaves, she's gone. She can stay.
All right, Turtle, you want to do the before we get out of here? You want to do the Operation Tackle Box?
Operation Tackle Box is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that takes veterans on fishing expeditions at this moment. They are working on other projects for like overlanding and off-road trail riding and stuff like that on like he's the guy that runs it, Jacob Watkins, is a former vet. He is trying to do as much as he possibly can to help veterans see that there's more out there than what we were trained for or what we are used to being, that we can't be that person anymore. We have to go back to the civilian world and be good public citizens. He's showing them the light, if you will. He takes them fishing, gets them out on the boat, and they're out there for several hours or whatnot, and they can talk or just fish or not talk or whatever. It's just a trip, just to kind of get them out there. And at the end of the trip, you get
Hang on, I'll be right back.
a rod, reel, tackle box, shirt, and a hat with Operation Tackle Box on it. They do a lot of good for the veterans community, especially here in the state of Georgia, in the United States. For those that aren't in the United States, that is here in Georgia. They're also, what you can't see, you can see the top of the picture there. They're doing a giveaway for a side-by-side that's going to get fully decked out with a bunch of stuff. They're trying to raise money to buy property. I think it's 22 acres somewhere here in Georgia to build an overland park, basically, for veterans, where they'll be able to go camping trips and overland trails and stuff all like that. And it's going to be really big, really big.
That's awesome.
They do some really good work. Bosco left us.
He's hiding.
Yep.
No, that's awesome. And that's like, I'm not involved with anything of that magnitude, but like, I'm a huge advocate for men's mental health. Like, I know the combat veterans have like way more to deal with than a regular Joe like me, but it's you see it, right? And I've had to deal with suicide and friends, losing people and family to suicide, and it's, if people just talked or opened up, it's tough, and it shouldn't be taboo, right? It should be.
No, and it's not so much that it's taboo. It's really hard for veterans to open up because we don't know how to express those feelings. We don't know how to explain those things to people that don't understand those situations. Yes, I already talked about that. This is the XP 1000. that they're giving away. And it's like I said, it's a 2023 Polaris Ranger, but it's going to get them, I think it was 22 plus acres of land in Greenville, Georgia. Hopefully by the end of this year they'll have at least a good bit to get that. They've been doing that raffle. He started that, I want to say, this time last year, so about a year and a half. But they are $10 a ticket. You can go to their webpage, which is that page that you're looking at.
Yep, I have it pulled up, and the link will be in the show notes. And when we post it on, when this goes to Spotify in a few days, our mission is to help our veterans heal through fishing and help them get on track with the benefits they are entitled to. Taking veterans on camping trips, fishing tournaments, fishing expos, and anything else we can provide to help our warriors. And there's a link right there. You can donate. You go on their page. There's a link to donate. And they take all the payment types. There is, I was going to look in here and see. Thought there was a way you can go in there and buy some stuff.
Click on the
shop now. I overlooked it a second ago.
Yeah, they've got hats, hoodies, t-shirts, keychains. Man, I can't remember all of what's on there. There's quite a bit what's on there.
Hang on. Next, I want to run through this. Is it that one? Nope. Yeah, that's the one. Okay. Apparel and accessories. Turtle and I both have a shirt and a hat from it. There's some new designs, some shirts, hoodies, hats.
Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff on there. Women's shirts, men's shirts.
Ooh, I didn't see that hoodie before.
The camoed one?
Yeah. That's my favorite color.
Yep. The no seam. And it's like a Gore-Tex hoodie.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a windbreaker type thing.
Been there, destroyed that. That's funny. I actually might have to get that hoodie, dude, for real. It's the first time me seeing that. But yeah. Anyway, even if you don't want to buy anything, if you want to just donate, they have all kind of things. There's women's the ladies' t-shirts.
They got poppets. Those little clicky things you put on the back of the phone, little pog things.
Yep.
They got some of those on there. Get it real quick.
But yep.
Get it real quick. You got it. All right, cool. I don't think Bosco saw.
Hang on. I didn't see. Did I see? Let me see. My screen. Hang on. Okay, what? What did I see?
I said it was those poppy things that go on the back, the little poppy things.
Oh, damn it. He got me.
I'll be over to drop this red mat off and I'll punch you in the arm for it later.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, anybody got anything else? Any dad jokes? Nothing.
Dad jokes, you say?
I got one for you.
Uh-oh.
I got one for you.
What you got?
Man walks into Walmart with his wife and kids and enjoys the day. No?
That sounds like a dream.
That's why it's a joke.
I didn't hear the punchline. I can barely hear you.
That's the punchline.
That is the punchline because it didn't happen. Okay.
Yeah, because it can't happen. Dad cannot walk into the Walmart with the wife and kids and enjoy himself.
Right.
All the sporting
don't
goods,
mind me.
Sporting goods and automotive are so far apart from everything else that the wife wants to see.
Right. Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah, it's no fun when you have to explain them anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm just stupid. Don't mind me.
Oh, you're Canadian. We'll forgive you.
My wife told me I had to stop impersonating a flamingo, so I had to put my foot down.
There you go. I like that one.
That's pretty good.
I'm here all week.
But yeah, man, you're more than welcome to come back on anytime you know.
We've been trying for a long time to get me on here, so I figured I'd make good on my promise.
So
Might as
this
well go
time,
ahead and take the bullet, huh?
Yeah, well, no, actually, it's pretty cool. I'll definitely come back. That's if you'll have me. It's been a lot of fun. I'll get headphones next time so I can actually hear what you guys are saying.
I was gonna say, might send you some earbuds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got to do something different.
We'll start a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
That's for Craig.
Well, I don't use them. Like when I'm in the shop, I just Bluetooth my phone to my stereo in the shop, and it pounds in here, and I don't have to. Same as at work, right? I just don't need them. So I guess I'll buy a set.
I could turn the speakers all the way up at work. I still wouldn't hear them. I have to wear Bluetooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm a mechanic at a bowling alley, so.
Speaking of other mechanics, Alan Tidwell, Catfish just joined in the chat.
There he is. Good old Catfish.
Say good evening, gents. I know we've been. Yeah. Who you calling gentlemen? Yeah, he just got a new career change. He works at a company called. I don't know if he wants me to say it or not, and they don't pay me to say it. Anyway, he just got a new job. He's still a mechanic, but he's got his. He done got
Max Car. Just kidding.
And yeah, he's got it made now.
Yeah, he works for Carvana.
But yeah, man, I'm like I said, I'm a big purveyor of like, get out there and get working on a car, especially and it don't take much. People go, I don't know anything about working on cars. Yeah, neither did I.
Yeah.
And sometimes I still don't know what I'm doing.
But that's why my shit still runs, because I'm still working on it.
Yeah, man. I mean, well, I guess that's it, man. I mean, I know we're going along again, but it's been fun. And Bubba, you got any news? Anything new on your Rango?
The steering's messed up from I put an intermediate steering shaft on it, and that was a project that took me like a week. It shouldn't have took me that long, but problems. And I went to get an alignment, so there's some nuts or something that are seized on the control arms, so that's fun.
Yeah, that's always.
So fun. I bought 2 junkyard control arms, so maybe one day I'll have normal steering again. Maybe one day, but
I got the infamous broken bolts on a 4.7 problem on my daily.
Oh, the exhaust studs.
Yeah, buddy. I got new exhaust studs and gaskets, so I was gonna do it this past Saturday, yesterday. I ended up having to work. And so this coming up Saturday, I'll probably do it then. Because I got a torch and I got everything at work, and I can use the shop at my discretion. It's basically my shop. But I'm gonna fix that and do an EGR block off on that, and then let it ride. Get me a 5.7 Hemi rebuild kit here in a couple months, and once after, probably towards the beginning of the year, pull the trigger and start tearing that engine down. Or after everything slows down here at work. But what's up?
Hey, Bubba, don't ask Bosco to help you with the steering, though. The parts will sit in your garage floor for months.
Well, all right. Y'all got anything else? I guess we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up. For my followers, thank you very much. Thank y'all for listening. Thank you for watching us. Thank you, Greg, for being on here once again, man. I can't thank you enough. It's been really cool.
Thanks for having me.
You're an awesome buddy. I really appreciate picking your brain for especially Dodge ideas and things. Y'all, there is a couple notables I want to shout out to. Kimmy and Friends show. They do the Dukes of Hazzard movie, a TV show review. Y'all go out there and look them up. They are friends of mine. And check out the people over there at Failure to Stop. I always have to slow down when I say that. Failure to Stop. It's that podcast where police and first responder meet society and culture. Very good supporters of this podcast as well. We've had Eric Tansey on here once. And also out there, Chief Keef. He's there was a motorcycle down situation. I think he was hanging out with his motorcycle club. He said that he was on his way back from Cleveland. One of his motorcycle club members laid it down in Cincinnati. And the chapter from New York met us with his bike on a trailer and him bandaged in the back seat. So he was getting that dude home and his motorcycle home. So
Good.
thoughts and prayers out to him. But as Chief Kifo from One Morning, I'm out of here, and I'll probably have him on in the future as well. Again, of course, a lot of y'all probably are familiar with him. Well, as far as it goes for me, fellows, and everybody else out there, y'all know as always, the road goes on forever. Thank y'all for listening to the best, worst thing you've never seen. And we, hang on.
Thanks for riding with us on the Forever Road podcast with Bosco. Hey, you can find and follow us at Instagram and Facebook, or just drop us a line or a question anytime at foreverroadpodcast@gmail.com. See you next time on the Forever Road podcast.